But yeah, speaking of Japanese work culture, Zom 100 is about, well, it is very clearly a commentary on Japanese work culture. The first episode, the whole idea is that this guy is working for this production company. He was excited to get there. But after 3 years, he realized, oh, it's not what I think it is, and it's just them being overworked, sleeping at work. He goes home. He watches like a movie, and he essentially becomes a living zombie. And then
Right.
an actual zombie apocalypse happens, and he's happy as hell because he doesn't have to work anymore.
Anymore. That is so
And
funny.
that is the show. Is him essentially juxtaposing his lifestyle, which is he wants to like spend it like going down his bucket list of things he wants to do now that he doesn't have to work, versus
Mhm.
some of the other characters who are just trying to actually survive and think that what he's doing is stupid.
Right.
But yeah, it's been real good so far. I've only seen the first two episodes. There's actually a new episode up today that I'm gonna watch later. Yeah,
Nice.
it's good so far. I'd always saw it in the Shonen Jump app randomly, and I think I checked out or started to check out one of the chapters a long time ago, but just didn't get into it. But I don't know. After this first season, I'll probably jump into the manga.
Bet.
Still watching, Jujutsu Kaisen. I think they're on like the
Okay.
third episode now. So one of my least favorite things about Jujutsu Kaisen is that they over explain powers, and also a lot of the powers are sometimes just overly complicated. Um,
Right.
but they over explain them when they are actually relatively simple. For example, Gojo's power is essentially that he can control space and time to an extent, and in doing so, anything that approaches his body gradually slows down until it basically seems like it's not moving anymore.
Right.
And then he also can make like black holes and shoot them at people. That's basically his power. But the way they explain it in the show makes it sound like the most overcomplicated thing for no reason. It's not really that complicated. They just make it more complicated than it really is. But yeah, Jujutsu Kaisen is still good. Mappa, as overworked as they are, they still do some good work. They do some great
Good
work.
work. Yeah. It's funny because it's funny that you bring up Gojo's ability because there's been a trend on Twitter with the domain expansion text over random manga panels that don't have anything to do with Jujutsu Kaisen. I've seen it done to like Witch Hat Atelier, Madoka Magica. It's so silly.
Let me tell you something about domain expansion because I'm reading the manga, fully caught up on the
Uh,
manga, and right now there's this big fight happening between these two characters that are super powerful, and this is classic over explanation and over complication of everything, and that's just what Jujutsu Kaisen is. And it's just some other characters essentially. It's some Dragon Ball Z type stuff where other characters are narrating the fight as it happens, um,
oh
and they're narrating
boy.
the fight and talking about all these complicated things that it's hard to understand while while watching the fight. And there's a bunch of domain expansions inside of domain expansions and expanding your domain, but then shrinking your domain. I was just like, bro, calm down. I just want to see them fight. I've been waiting for this fight for a long time, and you're taking the fun out of it.
Just fight and get it over with. Oh man.
It's a lot. It's still fun though. Like honestly, how ridiculously overcomplicated powers is. It's funny, and the writer goes out of his way to make jokes about it every now and again. Like at one point, there's one character who easily has the most overcomplicated power in the entire series. Went to explain his power a second time, and then just stopped
A
halfway through.
second time is
And then
crazy.
he just stopped halfway through. He was like, you know what? You don't need to know this. You'll just see it as the fight goes along. And I go, yes, that's how you explain the
Yes,
power. You explain
yes.
it as it's happening. You don't explain the whole thing beforehand. And the reason they do that is because he knows it's overcomplicated. He needs to calm down.
That's good.
But anyway, watching Bleach. Um, that last episode of Bleach was so damn good, man. Uh, there's a character who has the ability to essentially turn inverted controls on in real life. So left becomes right, up becomes down, and I'm watching it subbed, because I'm watching it as it airs, and even the subtitles were backwards. It threw
That
me
is
way
so
off. I was like, I had to stop and pause and go, wait, what? The subtitles are backwards. He's affecting real life. What's happening right now?
that's absurd.
It was ridiculous. It was cool as hell. But and the music that plays while he explains it is so good. Shiro Sagutsu, is the composer for Bleach, and his score for Bleach has always been incredible. One of the greatest anime scores of all time, in my opinion. Especially the Iranka arc score is just full of a bunch of like Spanish flamenco music. It's so good.
Nice.
And Shinji is known to have already have this character I was talking about already known to have one of the best songs played during like a moment where he comes in and is a badass. And then he has another one this time, but it's a whole R&B song that low key doesn't completely fit with the scene, but I'm not mad at it because the song was so good.
That's crazy.
Bleach soundtrack is good for no reason, and this season has a lot of remixes of songs from throughout the entirety of the series that are great. But was it Ichigo's his main theme number one is just amazing. It's just this black woman singing her soul out. It's so good. But yeah, that's all I got in anime.